And welcome back to another exciting episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us. I'm your host, Michael, and today I am joined by a dear friend making her second or third appearance. I've lost count, but so grateful. And I have been on her show, so I'm always grateful that we reciprocate and support each other's shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going, without further ado, give the space to my awesome, amazing, wonderful guest, the one, the only, the truly blessed, talented Glenda Dawson.
Thank you. How are you, Michael?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Doing fantastic. So, welcome everyone. I'm Glenda Dawson. Um, I am basically fully into metaphysical. I'm a mystic. I am a reverend, not denominational. So don't think you have to be anything specific. I believe all paths go to the same place, so it doesn't make any difference. I am a Reiki Grandmaster. I am an author. Um, of course, host, producer, also as well. There's a lot of different things. I am a teacher, so I teach everything that I know. I give, for example, in Reiki, I'm a Grandmaster because I am 25th level just in Usui, and I know over 100 different modalities or branches in Reiki. I know quantum physics or quantum healing. I do regressions. I basically, most of my life, have studied and studied and studied because I believe, a good, for example, a good contractor has different tools. So you never know what tool you're going to need. So I'm basically a conduit, and this way I use whatever tool I need for whatever reason. Anything from energy healing to being a mentor to doing weddings to baptismals or presentations of babies. And doing weddings is a lot of fun. So I appear in many different uh, podcasts and events. Um, been in big uh, ghost hunts events worldwide. Um, like the Global Ghost Hunt. I was the metaphysical consultant. So that if anybody needed anything or they wanted to shoot by me something and they were not sure what it was, or they were having problems and not sure if they were cleansed or after the event, because you never know what you pick up when you do these paranormal events. I would help them through that or whatever the case may be. I'm also any second now I'm going to be putting up the link, but I also co-wrote with a few other co-authors and Kevin Harrington a book um, where we talked about our business. Each individual person talks about their business and how they got there. So they wanted somebody who was in the metaphysical side of things instead of the regular business, the regular corporate type. And I was perfect for that. So Kevin Harrington, who and nobody knows who he is, which I'm sure almost everybody knows, he's one of the original Shark Tanks. He was season 1 and 2. Um, and that show Shark Tank, where you have billionaires, millionaires, and billionaires betting for products and stuff like that. That he was one of them. Um, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody's reaction when they get the book, and it's going to be on the website soon. It's supposed to have come out already, but like everything, there's always those glitches.
Oh
But
yeah,
any second now, any second. Hey, it's a great Thanksgiving. Maybe on Thanksgiving it
yeah.
comes out perfectly. So
Well,
very
heartfelt
excited.
congratulations for the
Thank,
new book.
thank you. Yes, and so I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm going to be doing a lot of classes in January and February, which a lot of my students have been requesting. Like they're actually emailing me, when are you doing this and when are you doing that? So I will be starting the self love class. Well, course, I should say. It's 26 sessions. We meet on the second and the fourth Tuesday of the month. And for 26 sessions, I give you the tools so you start seeing the places where you need to work on to start loving yourself, your whole self, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, the whatever it is, because that's how you accept yourself and that's how your self esteem increases.
And
And
you
then,
think you can get all that in 26 episodes?
yes, I do. Actually, have done three three courses already, and the students have all given me great feedback on it. Um, I'm gonna put some up the next coming weeks on the actual event. You could get it on my website. You could get it on Facebook. You could get the event on Meetup. It's going to be on Zoom, so no matter where you are in the world, and I record it for those people that can't make it to that particular class. And I give you, of course, I send you assignments, so you have to commit to yourself that this is what you want to do. You want to let go some of that negative energy that has been weighing you down. Everybody talks about self love, but nobody really understands self love means loving every part of you, no matter if you feel you're too big, too small, too chubby, too skinny. I got a freckle, no freckle, whatever it is. And if there's something that you really love but don't like about yourself, here's an opportunity to find out the root cause. Maybe the root cause was something that occurred to you when you went to kindergarten. And somebody saw a little freckle on you and said, "Oh, look at that freckle," because kids could be mean. Uh, and, let's face it, and then the older we get, the worse it gets. Um, so, from that, we go and we kind of heal that. And we kind of send love to that 5-year-old that went to kindergarten and that moment. And that energy then transmutes to the present. You learn how to set boundaries. You learn how to uh, let people in your inner circle or your outer circle or the outer circle. And you learn how to differentiate from real friends, real people that are there to collaborate with you, to really support you, versus those that say, "Yeah, I support you, but there's conditions."
Right.
So that's
Yeah, they support you when when it's convenient for
it,
them.
exactly.
I'm kind of curious a little bit about it without getting too much into it because I don't want to discourage people from taking the course because it does sound great, but there's that term that goes around that people tend to like shy away from, and that's shadow work. Do you
Uh-huh.
feel like that's something you hit on in the class, or are you like, no, we don't necessarily go that deep to look
Mm,
at what's going on?
well, we go to shadow work, but we don't call it shadow work because it's not. um, it's to get shadow work, you need a set time, a set block. It isn't a one and done. You know what I mean? It's shadow work, I believe, is something that should be continued constantly. There's always something that you need to drag out of you. There's always something because there, even if you even if you went to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or whatever, and you went and you spoke to them and they gave you whatever and they said, okay, you worked through it and you think you worked through it, whatever. There's probably dust that you still have to get rid of. And the more um, that you heal, the more you need to let go because that is still dust, that is still negative energy, negative ions that are holding you or making a blockage that won't allow the energy to flow through you. So when people say, oh, I'm ascending or whatever, it's great. You know, awakening. Oh, I'm awakened. Yeah, it's great. But you're going to have a lot of more awakenings. Awakening it isn't just one and done. You know,
Right. Yeah.
you open up, and the more you open up, more stuff come to you, and more awaken of that knowledge that has been hidden from you. So the more you see, so every single time, it's layers. It's it's kind of like Reiki. I call it an onion, and then you keep
Yeah.
peeling. You keep peeling the layers. You keep peeling the layers, until you get to the actual heart of it,
I
and the
think you're reading my mind because I was just about to say I always use the analogy of an onion. When you peel one layer, there's another layer, and another
exactly,
layer, and another layer.
exactly, and that's how it should be, because the human mind and the human psyche has not been made to handle all at once. If you had something that happened to you when you were a teenager and you blocked it and it's affecting you and you start peeling it slowly, then your mind and your psyche and your soul can handle the things slowly. But if all of a sudden you shock and awe, you could go into a breakdown. You could go into a really deep depression. You could just
Break.
to break. Exactly. So it's recommended that you go layer by layer. That is why even therapy and therapists tell you. I mean, I'm not a therapist, I'm a coach, I'm a counselor. That's very different. But a therapist goes and has many sessions for sometimes years because they go layer by layer by layer, you know.
Right.
And that's the same way. And it's even like when you do regression work, you go layer by layer backwards. You don't just, take them to 2 lifetimes ago. Okay, you're there. No, you go you go layer step by step by step because that's how the brain can actually handle it, or the section of the brain that we actually have awake, because we have a lot of the brain that we don't use. We have, if we were able to use that, oh my goodness, you can move things. And those people that can move things just by thinking about it, telekinesis and all that other stuff, they will be able to tell you they're using a lot of the brain.
Right.
That's, yeah, we have gifts that we don't even remember we have. And that's what all this awakening and all this leveling up and all that is about.
And a couple things real quick is like, when we talk about the onion,
Hmm.
whether you cut it properly or improper, you're gonna tear up.
Hmm.
So that's the part I love too about the analogy is, it's going to be emotional. No matter if you do it right or wrong, you're going to get
Exactly.
emotional. So there is
Right.
no real wrong way.
No, no. People say, "Oh, don't cry. That shows that you're weak." No, that shows that you're human because they're
Right.
the crying ducks are there for a reason. Otherwise, why would you have them? You
Yeah.
know,
They're not
they
just to keep the eye clean.
no, no, exactly. They're there to release.
Mhm.
It's like the pressure cooker, the old time
Yeah.
pressure cookers with the little thing on the top. And once it got to a certain point, it went And you saw the
Opposite.
state. Yeah, exactly. So it's the same thing. It needs to release. You need to release the pressure.
Mm.
And
And one thing I was going to share is
mhm,
I don't know if it's like past life regression, but I've studied timeline therapy.
mhm,
And you go back on the timeline to the root cause event,
mhm,
and then you look at how the whole picture and you learn positives and the negative experience, and then you put those positives into play
mhm.
and bring that forward. But the thing that I find interesting that people don't realize is they get frustrated because you think you're going to the root cause. So you've done from point A to current, so
Right,
you don't need to look at it again.
right.
But just because you were at the root cause of that one, there's always other scenarios how it
Mhm.
shows up. And so there's new root causes, and everyone I think is like, this doesn't work. If I'm on the same pattern, looking at the same thing, and I already did the root cause, I shouldn't be looking at it. It's like, yeah, people are so ingrained that they think because it's the word root cause, you're like,
Right.
done. And it's like,
Uh,
no, there's several root causes.
mhm. And like I hope my clients also kind of rewrite. So if they had a very traumatic event, say their father hit them really bad, okay, for example, and they remember that, and it has caused them a lot of pain, so they stay away. Their relationships have been bad, and the father and the child don't get along, and so that has affected throughout their life. You go to the first event that they remember, and then you kind of rewrite it, like, okay, um, he hit you, but it didn't hurt, it didn't affect you. Let's change that emotion to a different emotion. Let's see what we can do. Let's heal that event. Let's send energy there, and then that energy should carry throughout all of the events that it caused harm to. Because just because that you got hit by your father, and that's the root cause, but how about you ended up with men, say for example a woman, you ended up with men that do the exact same thing. They abuse you in some way because you remember the abuse. So you brought it back. That felt comfortable. Even though it was your father, you thought that that was the way it's supposed to be. So now subconsciously you bring it forward and you end up with the same type of people around you.
Right.
So once you heal the root part, you kind of rewrite it a little bit so you can bring it back forward, and then know that when you're choosing somebody around you and you see those red flags, then pay attention to those red flags and say, yeah, no, I'm expecting different results with the same things, the regular things that I'm doing. If I'm doing the exact same thing and expect different result, I'm like nuts.
Yeah.
Because, come on. So you change your pattern, you change your perspective, you change the way you do things, and then you get the result that you're looking for.
And I'm wondering, do you ever like have them look at the situation beyond like that moment and going, do you see your, in this instance, for example, you may be like, hey, did you see, how your father left and he
Mm-hmm.
was in tears
Mm-hmm.
and really upset, that just happened,
Right.
and going,
Oh,
what do you think about that? And
right.
looking at it and going, he's sorry, and maybe build a foundation of you can forgive because he didn't want to do it. He regretted doing it,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't
Yeah,
think
but he
about that
still did
because
it.
you're so focused on the incident and you
Hmm.
don't pay attention to the aftermath.
Well, you pay attention to the whole picture. So
Right.
when you're looking at it, you're looking at it as a movie, for example. and you're looking at the whole scenario. So you're outside of the incident. So you're looking at everything, where it happened, what time of day, who was there, what did he hit you with, what happened afterwards, what did you do, what did they do. So you look at the whole thing, not just he hit you. And that's the difference. That's why you go to the root cause, and the root cause is what you need to really take a look at everything. It can't just be, okay, he hit me with a belt. Then what are you going to do? You're going to then fall into that pattern of, they can abuse me, I can forgive them. You have to look at the whole picture and say, okay, that's unacceptable that he hit me. I could understand because maybe that's the way he was brought up, but that does not excuse me from breaking that cycle. If I don't break that cycle, it doesn't excuse me from abusing other people. It doesn't excuse me from accepting abuse,
Yeah. And one of the things
because
that
you
I,
learn to self-love, so you need to change that. You need to say, nope, unacceptable. I didn't really want to accept it then, but I was a child. I couldn't do anything much about it. But today I'm not accepting abuse of any kind. And that's how you go about it.
right. And the thing I always thought was most interesting about the work was the last thing whenever I was doing it or someone was doing it to me
Mm-hmm.
was they would say, okay, now's your opportunity to thank that person and this situation for the blessings and the gifts that you just now were taught.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a powerful and amazing
Oh
thing
yeah.
to turn around and be like, I just did all this work. Wow, I had this new everything. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, because you turn that whole energy around, like I was saying, you turn it all around, you rewrite it. So instead of seeing it as a bad situation, you saw it as a lesson learned. Because right now, that taught me what I don't want, what I will not accept, and where my boundaries are.
Yeah,
So,
which is a great segment to what you and I were talking about before we came live. And
mhm.
that was, we were discussing in full transparency. We're like, Thanksgiving's this week. And
Yes.
it's like, and I think, in my personal opinion, and I'll let you speak to your opinion,
Hmm.
I think people have forgotten what Thanksgiving really is. I mean, a lot of people will go, "Oh, well, it's when the pilgrims landed and, this or that." I was like, "No, that's the incident.
Hmm.
It's not the meaning." And so I feel like, this is an opportunity we're given, and being the two backgrounds that we have, it's like
Hmm.
I couldn't help but thinking today, going, what a blessing it is, to be able to have both of us going, this is what Thanksgiving should be if you don't think of it this way. And and, of course, they're free to choose, to celebrate the pilgrims or the true meaning. It's everyone's individual, but to plant the seed in essence of,
Hmm.
yeah, this is what we're missing. We're
Hmm.
It's not the commercialization.
Well, I'm going to throw a bomb at you. I believe Thanksgiving should be every day, because you should be grateful every single day for what you have and you don't have. You should just be grateful. Um, Thanksgiving is just a day that was picked to celebrate the essence of being grateful, basically. Yes, okay, unfortunately, that whole incident with the pilgrims and the natives, and that is terrible. But unfortunately, that's how it was in those times. In those times, and even still now, there's a lot of killing and a lot of stuff going on, in many countries. And, you know, people were just coming over, and for desperation, for survivor being in a surviving mode, they did what they did. That I don't excuse it at all. But really, Thanksgiving date, the day that we celebrate, should be celebrated every single day. You should wake up every morning and say, I am grateful for whatever. You should go to sleep and say, you know what? I am grateful for the great day I had. I made it through. I made it all the way to nighttime. Now I have a place to sleep. Even if you don't have a cozy home or whatever, be grateful for whatever it is that you do have, because you don't know. You could die in your sleep. You don't know if you have it tomorrow. You don't know what you're missing out. The universe does not give you anything any more than what you are grateful for. If you are not grateful, if you don't show that you are blessed and how blessed you are, even if it's one of those cases, even when I was, I had my three young kids and things were tight. I was a single mother at that point a while back, and I was grateful. I was grateful for everything that I was able to do. I actually even went to my one of my bosses and said, I need a paycheck in advance. And this was somewhere like in June, yeah, June. And they said, you know what, we're going to give you an early Christmas present. And they gave me a whole paycheck in advance as a bonus. So, like, what? What? Wait, So I was very grateful. Those are the things that you should be grateful for. You look around and everybody thinks, oh, I got a TV, I got this, I got that. Just be grateful you're alive. You breathe. Oh my goodness, you wake up. And even with the aches and pains as we get older, when we get up, we're like, oh, and all that other stuff. Just be grateful that you are here to complain about your pains and aches.
No, I totally wholly agree. And I actually, I used to just be like, hey, thanks for a great episode. And,
Mhm.
at the end of every episode with every guest, and
Yeah.
thinking, yeah. And I started to think about it and going, now it's like, I'm like, thank you for being a guest. Thank you for agreeing to come on. Thank you for the great episode.
Yeah.
Thank you for the conversation information. It's like everything is a thank you, because I realized one day
Mhm.
when I took the pressure off of me of what I wanted to accomplish with the show,
Mhm.
and sat back and realized, all the things that I've accomplished, I couldn't have done without other people. It's not just me.
Mhm.
And so I started thanking everybody. I thank my friends who give me advice on stuff. I thank my friends who watch and support the shows and share them out. I thank myself for getting up and being like, I know I'm like dog tired, but I got a show. I'm gonna do my best. We're gonna go out, and if I make a mistake, just
You're
roll with
human.
it,
You're
and
human. You're
don't
human.
don't take it personal. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's I started doing that with every show, and I noticed a drastic change to where
Mhm.
people actually were like messaging me and going, "Hey, can I be a guest?
Mhm.
I want to be on your show." And I'm like, "Really?" Or like people like, for example, you reached out after I made that mindset and you're like, "Hey, can I interview you?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Really? Okay, cool." And it's like, it just starts reciprocating out, and it's
Yeah.
like builds this community, and it's
It's a village. It's a
It's a
village. A lot of people think it's only them, but it's not. It's a community.
yeah.
You know, we build a community. No matter who it is, we build that community. We support each other, and by doing so, we could all rise. But if we start competing and being jealous with each other, then we could actually all fall.
Well, and the other beautiful thing about it is
Hmm.
I've had guests who, when they saw that I was having a show, or, I might mention to them, hey, I'm looking for a guest, what do you think of this person? They give me honest feedback and they're like, hey, I respect your show. I respect what you're doing. You're doing
Hmm.
great things. The topic you're wanting to do is great, but that's not that person's strong suit. Maybe you want to look over here.
Hmm.
And it's like, hey, cool. I never thought about that person that with that topic. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And and we help each other out. And I have three, podcast hosts that if I'm like stuck on trying to find someone for a topic, I can reach out to them and they're like, oh yeah, I did that topic. Maybe reach out to this person or this person.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's the beautiful thing. And I have a friend in the UK that he's had me on his show, and it's hard to get him on my show because they're 6 hours ahead of
Hmm.
my time zone. And so we exchange every once in a while. And
Right.
if I'm available, he's like, hey, can you help me out with the show? I'm like, that's really cool that he asked that. And
Hmm.
we have built that friendship. And I think it's because in the end, we know there's mutual respect and gratitude and
Hmm.
appreciation at the
Hmm.
foundation.
Yeah, exactly. And, and that's what I'm saying. Thanksgiving is just the date that they picked out to actually celebrate the feeling and the meaning of what it was supposed to be. Um, I believe, there's a lot of places that celebrate Thanksgiving on a different day. In Canada, it's a different day. They have the Canadian Thanksgiving in a different day. I think it was in October. I'm not sure, or early November. I'm not sure, but I know it's a different complete day. In Latin Americas, they celebrate Dia de Gracias, which is usually not even in the fall. It's usually like April or somewhere around there. So it all depends.
Yeah.
You know,
And
it all depends where it is. It's just the day that got picked because it was convenient to pick that day.
yeah, and I've actually had people ask me if Thanksgiving Day is a Mandela effect. 'Cause they're like,
Mm.
they remember it being the third Thursday, and some remember it always being the fourth Thursday. And I'm like, I even, I'll be honest, I remember thinking it was a floating, whichever Thursday in November they wanted it to be, that's what it was. I don't remember it always being on a third or a fourth. I kind of remember a time when it was like a floating and it depended on the year. But I knew it was a Thursday, but which Thursday it would be.
Yeah, I honestly, I just remember lately, for us, when I was young, I really didn't care. So it was Thanksgiving. Oh, we get to eat everything we want. We go to church. We have a breakfast there because I went to a Northern Baptist church and they always have breakfast, 6 o'clock in the morning, ungodly hour. Uh, I don't
I
know
don't
why
know.
they
That's a
we had a breakfast there with a few churches together, and then we went home, and then all the cooking began and or continued, and then we had a Thanksgiving dinner. So, and there were years where there were houses or people that actually members that hosted like a Thanksgiving dinner, and they would have like 10 or 20 people at their house that belonged to the church. So it rotated, and it's just Um, but I didn't care what the day was. It was in November. It was a Thursday. We ate. That's all I knew.
Right.
And we, at that point, there was a lot of prayer and a lot of, moments of thankfulness, a lot of little moments where you would just close your eyes and think about it, all your blessings, and respected that moment. You just sat there. Somebody said, let's be thankful for this, but not just this. Let's be thankful for the rest of the year and all that we have accomplished to get here and all that we had to go through to get here. And I remember one time, um, for some reason, they gave me the baton, and I was a teenager. As I was 17. What can a teenager say at 17? I like my games. I like TV. That kind of thing. But I, my spiritual team came in and I channeled something. I said, okay, amen. We open our eyes and everybody's looking at me like, do you know what you just said? And I'm like, no. And my mother was like, wow, that was really deep. I'm like, good. I have no idea what I said. And then I talked to her after everybody left and I said, Mom, I channeled it. They came and they talked to me. And she's like, okay, I'm glad, because I was kind of saying to myself, wow, for a 17-year-old, she really went deep. And
Me, if it was me, I would have sat at the table and been like, "Was it good?" They're like, "Yeah, yeah, that was me. That's all me." If it was bad, no, I don't know where that came from.
blame it on the bad energy that came through those doors. No.
Yeah. But and that you hit on something a little bit that always has been on my mind. We have these holidays where we're supposed to take a day to
Uh-huh.
be with family, friends, relax, and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And we have to be up and at some place at 6 a.m. in the morning. And it's like, how is this a holiday?
Yeah. I
How
sleep
is
better
this?
when I sleep longer when there is no holiday.
Yeah. I'm like, why does everything happen in the early hours? And it's like, really, this is the day where we're supposed to be like, don't have to get up
Relax.
for work, you don't have to get up for school, but no, you gotta get up for service though.
Sit, yeah, and be there looking like you're alive at 6 o'clock in the morning. I used to say to them, okay, this is ungodly. Why are we here this early in the morning? God doesn't want me to get up this early in the morning. And they would be like, come on, you got to go. Okay. And, once you're there, it's okay. You're talking to
Yeah.
everybody, you're conversing, your community, you're sharing the event, you're sharing things, and you're just having a grand old time and being thankful for everything, including those people that you get to meet. Because a lot of the times there were, like I said, there were visiting churches coming to our event. So it was great because you got to meet a lot of different people. And we always had a lot of churches from different religions. It wasn't just like Northern Baptist. We had whoever wanted. The Reverend would spread the news all over the place. We're having a breakfast, a Thanksgiving breakfast. No matter who you are, come. And it was great because you got to talk to people from different religions and understood that there's other stuff, and that's how my curiosity and my expansion of things really started to taking root, because I would be like, hey, they believe a little different than we do. So what is their belief? And that's when it all started to really take hold, by doing those type of events, by being there. So
Yeah, and
it's great.
it's kind of funny because like how you were saying, this is an ungodly hour. I would I would always say to somebody when they're like, you got to be up at like 5 a.m. for this, and my response would be, why do I got to be up? God's not even up at that hour.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
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 it's like my little rebellion to go. God's
Yeah,
not even up at this hour. Why the hell am I up?
yep, yep, and that didn't work much, but
Nope.
it's still I would still say it because I was the teenager.
Yeah, but admittedly, there was. I mean, you're right. There was, when you would help somebody out with something,
Hmm.
whether helping them with food that day or
Yeah.
just, helping out somewhere somehow,
Hmm.
you
Well,
did get this like rush and this great like
feeling.
positive energy
Yes.
filling you up, and it was like, yeah,
Yeah.
it was like worth it. But
Yeah.
I
Like
still
you.
feel like it could have been just as good in the afternoon as 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yes. Well, for the last few years, we have had the holidays at the center. And I would just tell anybody who wants to come, just come. We would have like a buffet, and mostly everybody would bring something and we would just share it. I would have like I would be the host. So I would have everything. This year, situations call it for different, so I couldn't do it this year. But normally, it would be like kind of like a revolving door. We would have, some years we actually had like 20 something people there, 30 people there, just coming in. Some would come for their main meal, some would come for the dessert, whatever it is. And it was really nice because you got to share with people that time, that special time, with people who are not usually there to share that special time. You share it with family and friends, yeah. But then I also just open it up to any member of any student, any member that felt that they just didn't want to be with their family or their friends, or they couldn't, or whatever the reason was.
Right.
Especially when we had the COVID and the lockdowns and all that. you know, I would say to them, okay, we're going to have this, you have to wear your mask because I have to follow the guidelines. But, you know, we're separated enough. We have the chairs set up the right way. So we have enough room in between and the whole thing. There was a lot of people there and it was great. And, I'm very blessed that I have been able to keep that center and keep it going, and even through COVID, and expand and just let it be a blessing for anybody, because that anybody who goes there, as soon as they walk through those front doors, they always tell me, wow, the energy here is so different, this is great. And I'm like, yes, everybody's welcome.
Mm.
There's we don't shut doors. Of course, I shut doors, but you know what I mean. I
Right.
don't throw anybody out unless they're disrespectful. They're going out. I mean, I've actually done that. I'm sorry, but there's no need to put anybody else down that's there. There's no need to talk bad about anybody while you're there. You want to talk bad about anybody, do it in your own time, in your own place. This is a sanctuary, a special place that everyone is welcome. And because I've had a few people that, oh wait, you're not a Christian. I said, I didn't say I am. I didn't say I am. I'm not. Oh, oh, well, I got to get out of here. Okay, it's your
Bye.
choice. Bye. That means you were not willing to be open minded, and anybody that walked through there was going to be your target. So it's okay,
Yeah.
because we accept anybody and everybody. We all have different paths. We all have different journeys.
And
And
I'm wondering, have you come across, like, when you sit down and think about it, like, to me, there is one aspect to Thanksgiving Day
mhm,
that's like a double edged sword.
mhm.
There's positive and negative about it. And for me, as an example, is the football games.
Yeah.
Because the positive is, yeah, every family gets together, they eat, they sit down, they watch the game together.
Mhm.
But the negative about it is it's usually the guys are in there, the women are off somewhere else talking because they're not into the game. So
Mm-hmm.
you've divided the house on a day of Thanksgiving where you're supposed to be spending time being grateful, segregated into two parts. And it's
Well,
like,
I,
really? This
I
is your idea of,
yeah,
a great Thanksgiving?
I solved that problem. What I turned it into a movie. So if we were, it was just, like the family, they could all go to the movie theater. We could all go right after dinner, go to the movie theater, and then come back if we wanted to and have dessert. If it was a lot of people and there were some that didn't want, I would actually put a movie on big screen TV or whatever, and we would watch it, and we would all agree on the movie. They would get a choice. We would all vote. We would get a choice of what I had, particular. It always had to have 99% of the times it was a Disney movie. Sorry, people, but I love Disney. I don't care how old I am. I love the cartoons. I love Moana. I love all of those things. And it would just be something to raise your vibrations, because that's a good type of movies. So we will all sit there together having dessert or whatever, and we would still be united. So there'd be, you want to watch a football game, record it at your house. When you are back, you could go watch it. That's the way I solved that problem. Um,
Right.
because it does divide everybody. And then you have women in the kitchen doing whatever they got to do, clean up and all that other stuff, instead of even spending time together talking, because they're all busy putting things away and wrapping things. And it's like, you're working. You're still working.
Yeah.
Everybody else is just relaxing and you're still working. Like, no, no, no. This is a day where it should be everybody the same. If it's time to put away, anybody could wrap a pen, or wrap up a pan, or get it ready to put it in the refrigerator. Where does this go? Put it in there. Anybody can do that.
Right.
So
And
it should
my
be
other favorite would be is during the game, honey, can you get me a beer? Can you bring chips? And I'm like, dude, you got two legs? You know where it's at? Why are
yes,
you making them come out of the kitchen to bring
yeah,
you something and then sending them back out of the room?
right, exactly. So they miss, even if they were having a conversation, they have put everything away. They miss some time with their own community, their own enjoyment time. So that's why I stopped the games. I
Yeah.
said anybody who wants to see the games could record them. You could watch the repeats. You can do whatever you want. But especially when we had the DVD recorders, record them there, whatever.
Yeah.
And you can
And
watch it anything, anytime, and nowadays. So you don't have to sit there live.
and I have to admit, I think
Hmm.
in looking in reflection,
Hmm.
that's why I don't like watching sports on TV. Is because I don't like how it creates separation and creates, this like almost, I hate to say it, but it almost makes like one person dominant and the other submissive.
Hmm.
And I'm like, this is wrong. I don't like this. And so it's
Yeah, they
like
see
you're
it.
saying, I will go watch a movie or I will watch a theater performance
Yeah.
before I will watch a game.
What bit everybody in the butt was that I like football, so I would sit there, and they're all looking at me. I'm like, "You said football? Well, I'm watching football," and they're like, "Why are you?" No, that's the woman's work. That's not me. And I would sit there,
Yeah. I mean,
and
and
I
you
turn
even
them
look at the
around.
Yeah, and you look at the commercials where they're talking about game day, getting ready for the game,
Yeah,
and you see
like,
the guys sitting around the table with the snacks,
yeah,
and you may see one female amongst the entire group, and I'm like,
yeah.
people, these ads are not showing what
They're
really should be going on here. This should be like everybody together, not
Yeah, exactly. It's a day of being together, not a day of
yeah,
separation. That's why I kind of like when they have the big, games or something where everybody joins in And everybody that they do snacks and all that, they prepare for all these things. That's okay because then you're together knowing that you're going to watch a game together. But when you have a Thanksgiving dinner or a holiday dinner, it could be Christmas. You know how many games there are? There's so many things going on at Christmas time. Like, spend some time with the family. Watch a Christmas movie then or something if you got to watch something. The best I like lately is everybody on their phone. You're all together, but everybody's on their phone. And you're like, why don't you just put the phone away? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
no, and it's okay, but
Yeah.
it's just getting out of hand. It's getting out of
So
hand.
to turn it to a lighter view and
Mhm.
kind of a more positive spin,
Yes.
I'm curious. Like, we say like candy comes out. We know Halloween, is
Hmm.
coming up.
Right.
The fourth fireworks. We know the 4th of July is coming out, and the
Right.
patriotic stuff comes out, and the Christmas lights come out, and displays come out. So we know Christmas is here.
Right.
What is it that you see around you that you're like, oh, Thanksgiving has arrived? What is the something that makes you go, okay, it's that season?
The leaves turning and then all the pumpkins out. Even though it's for Halloween, I see a lot of pumpkins. As soon as I see pumpkins, I'm like already thinking to myself, wow, there you go. This is already the beginning of the season for me. So let's be real, sports are.
That's true, but yeah, that's for a different show, Derek. That's for my Wednesday shows. We'll get into that more on that episode, on that series.
But yeah, no, I actually see a lot of Thanksgiving decorations and a lot of Thanksgiving lights. It's funny. I see three houses almost every day where every single holiday they have different light colors and different they it's like Halloween ends, the next day they take all the Halloween stuff off and boom, all the Thanksgiving stuff go up. And I'm like, well, at least it's almost the same colors. And then, the day after Thanksgiving, all the decorations go off and poof, all the Christmas. And they don't just do like one a couple of, I mean, they deck it. Like lights all over the place, decorations all over, inflatables, this, that, or the other. I'm like, wow, they spend a lot of time. They spend a lot of time. But you know what? It's so nice because they actually celebrate. They actually bring themselves into a higher vibrational level because of all these lights that they're seeing every single time they go home. They see all the lights. Oh my God, it's great. And it brings them a little joy, even if they don't realize it. And it brings joy to everybody who sees it too.
So, what are the Thanksgiving colors for
Uh,
lights?
well, there's yellow, orange, and browns. Those three colors for sure.
I don't think I've ever seen those, unless
Yeah,
they were
I mean,
multicolor
it
Christmas
probably
lights.
it could be the multicolor LED lights that they turn them to because I know now they're selling LED lights to turn whatever color you want. So, but yes, they have them and they blink, you know, pattern and all that, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. I like lights, so I don't care what color
Yeah,
they are. Yeah. So, but it's very nice, and I've seen the inflatables like turkeys and all that other stuff, and it's like, wow, okay, that's a huge one. So,
yeah. And I gotta say, I love the memoirs where you get the turkey inflatable, and you see the Santa inflatable on the ground, and he goes, "Not yet, fat man."
right, not yet, not yet.
It's like,
So,
yeah, it is amazing to me though. Too is I think Thanksgiving may be one of the older holidays we have, but it's disappearing. I feel like is
Mm,
getting overshadowed by. I mean, we have Christmas movies in July,
mm-hmm,
Christmas movies already starting,
mm-hmm.
premiering, and we haven't even had Thanksgiving yet. We just had Halloween, which has a whole month of celebrations. And
I gotta
to
agree. I
me,
like Halloween, so I'm sorry.
oh, I'm not complaining about, Halloween, having a whole
uh,
month. I'm just meaning
it
when it comes to like November, it's like everyone's like, well, it's pre Christmas because
well,
all the Christmas movies are coming out.
right.
And
What
it's like,
happened?
no, nobody does Thanksgiving movies.
I think what has happened is all the um, everything has been too convoluted. We have Christmas music, we have Christmas movies way early. We have decorations in July for Halloween. So everything has been so advanced. Like, you go to the stores and you're already in September. I don't like stores, by the way. I'm probably the only woman you could tell that doesn't like stores. Went to a store and I actually saw Christmas trees already being put up for display. And I'm like, I we haven't even gone through, September. Like, okay. And I'm looking up like, oh, by the time Christmas comes, I'm going to be bored to death because the Christmas spirit will be gone.
Yeah,
That's why I kind of liked it the way that it used to be. It's like every month had its own thing. Every month has its own theme,
yeah.
and there was none of this super rushed. And I understand, retail, they kind of want to sell because people start buying and all that other stuff. I understand all that, but let's kind of bring it down a little,
I
And
agree.
so,
And growing up to me, it's like I remember knowing like Chris Halloween would be around because like Garfield would have his Halloween
oh
episode.
yes, yeah,
And Thanksgiving you had the Great Pumpkin and
hmm,
Thanksgiving Charlie Brown,
yeah,
Peanuts.
right,
And
right.
then at Christmas time, it would be like you get Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer,
And,
Frosty, Jack Frost. You get all these cartoons that were or movies that
right,
were around the holiday in that month, like the week or two of.
right, right.
And
So you
now
got
it's like I go and I look on TV and I'm like, okay, Thanksgiving's coming up. Where's Charlie Brown? Not even on the air anymore. And I'm
now.
like,
Now you
what?
actually have to go sometimes to YouTube or special cable uh, channel, where they actually have the oldies, as they say,
Yeah.
because it's hard to find them. Hard to
I
find.
actually bought them on DVD so I could, you know,
Okay, there
bring
you go.
that back and be like, okay, it's the holiday season. Let's watch this. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's amazing to me how I feel like what's going to end up happening is within, I'd almost say, a generation or two,
Mm-hmm.
no one's going to even remember half the holidays that we have. They're going to be extinct, no longer celebrated, unless we start to.
I think I think that would be celebrated. I just think they'd be celebrated very differently. It's with technology and all that, the way it's going to be very different. Um, so, the get togethers might be holograph. So each other, okay, on Zoom, like a lot of families do now. It's like
No,
that kind of,
when you're talking about holograms, my mind went to the ultimate diet is you get the hologram of the turkey, so you can imagine cutting it, eating it without
yeah,
any of the calories or anything, because
yeah,
it's not
uh,
really there.
yeah, exactly. There you go.
No
Can imagine.
cleanup.
clean up, no cooking beforehand. Oh man, it's a perfect one. So, but no, seriously, I think it's just going to be very different.
Yeah.
Um, the generations that are growing up now, that are coming in now, they have a lot of more energy and more awareness than we ever did. So they're going to be celebrating things, but they're going to be celebrating things, I believe, with a lot more meaning than we have lost right now. Like,
Yeah. And there are holidays I've noticed that I remember being around that are no longer on calendars.
mhm,
And they were
mhm,
national holidays.
mhm. Well, they took some to put some others and all that stuff. I That's just the way. But even Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that other stuff, I think the only holiday that some of the retail stores actually close on is Christmas. That's
Yeah.
the only official holiday. But you have all the Memorial Days and all that other stuff. We used to have, when it was Thanksgiving, no store was open. You didn't find a single store. You didn't find a single store open on Christmas. And
And
everything
then Black
closed early
Friday
on Christmas.
came,
And then
and it
Black
was like,
Friday
oh,
came, and that was it. So, and now they're moving Black Friday even earlier.
and
Um,
Cyber Monday now.
and to be fair, I do have a sale on my website for all the services and classes that are up, and it's all the way till midnight. You know, uh, on Monday. So that's
Yeah, but in
you know.
fairness, yours isn't taking the place of.
No, I am not making people work on their holiday or anything like that. And I am giving everybody who purchases it during this time gets the sale price, which shows up at the end when you pay at the cart. And it's good for a whole year. So it's not like, you have to rush and you buy a Reiki session, you don't have to do it within the week. Schedule it at your own peaceful time, and as long as I will know when you bought it, because I'll know, and when you show me the receipt, I'll see when you paid it, and I'll know you bought it in this special time. So
And for the people that think like me, the
mhm.
sale ends Monday, but after
Monday,
Monday, after you purchased it, you have
yeah,
the year to use it.
yeah, yeah. So I did it that way, so nobody feels pressured. You could give it as a gift. Maybe you have somebody who's having a baby and they're not having it till February, and you want to give them a baby presentation package. So that could be, purchased now, and you could give it as a gift, and they could use it whenever, within the year. So they don't have to bless the baby right away, or they don't have to present the baby right away, or even baptize the baby right away. It's You could use it within the year. I just, there's so many things that people get rushed to today, and
Right.
it's there's no need. There's no need. And by the way, almost all the services could be done over the net, and even the blessing I could do over the net if it comes to doing that. So, and a wedding, I could only marry and perform the ceremony anywhere in the U.S. I cannot go out of the country. No.
Darn. What if it's a
I
cruise ship?
know. And they don't have to be traditional. I've actually done a ceremony on motorcycles. I've done ceremonies and people who did. The guy built a tree house because they met when they were very young in a tree house. Then the families moved apart, and then they reconnected in
Aw.
a tree house. So it doesn't have to be all this fancy stuff. It doesn't have to be traditional. I love it when it's not, you know, when it's your own way. It should be your way. And I do hand fastings, everything. So it isn't like just one way. Because a lot of the times that's what people think. Oh, you got to do this. You got to. I write what you say with you, and and I do not include obey. So if anybody has a problem with that, too bad. I will not include the obey part. Nobody should obey anybody.
No, there should be equal communication, not
Exactly, exactly. So should be a partnership the
yeah.
second you say I do. So
So within the theme of everyday gratitude,
hmm
what are some of the things that I know we talked a little bit earlier about this, but what are like really a lot of the things that you like to take the time to say thank you to, but sometimes the day gets away from you and you don't, you know, have time. So I'm giving you a
well,
chance now to
okay.
address those.
I actually thank those people that challenge me each and every day because that's how I learn my lesson and that's how I grow. Believe it or not. I know that it's like people would say like, "What are you crazy?" But those people that challenge me, those people that for example, it's kind of sort of, but my granddaughter when she gets stubborn and she wants things her way, she actually a lot of the times teaches me not only patience, even more than I have, but also to see things in a different way. Okay, why do you want to do it that way? And I see how she does it, and that brings me understanding, that brings me a lesson, and that also brings me growth because I grow with each and every challenge that I receive in my path. I am very thankful for all my family, really am. Even those that we don't even talk but once a year. Um, I'm grateful for each and every child that I had because I grew. They taught me things and I grew with them. Um, I always thought, okay, that's the way it's got to be, even though I had a lot of patience, but still my limit. And then I grew and I learned that I could still be more patient and I could still learn things. And that's what got me into saying to myself, you know what? Every day, use it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, to expand, to see with different eyes, different perspective. Uh, I'm grateful for each and every challenge that my guides give me, even though I argue with them all the time, because they're opening up channels and routes and journeys for me. And sometimes I argue. Well, yeah, I've always argued because I always say, "Why? What do you mean I got to do it? What? Why? Why do you want me to do it that way?" And they're like, ugh. They take turns to tell me which way I should do. But I'm very grateful just to be where I am, be with the people I have are in my circle, people who are willing to share their lives with me, whether it's just an experience, whether it's just a person who comes for a Reiki session, a person that interviews me like you. I'm grateful for every opportunity, good or bad, because each one of them has a beautiful ending to it. Each and
Okay.
every one.
So now, being that we're both metaphysical based,
Uh-huh.
I have a challenge for you.
Okay.
All of those things that you just listed being grateful for
Uh-huh.
were exterior essences to yourself. So,
Uh-huh.
what are you grateful about yourself?
That I love myself. I respect myself, and I know who I am. Every day it changes, you know, but I am grateful for me. I am, I do love myself. So with that love comes the respect I deserve, the boundaries I put up, the willingness to bend if I have to, like the willow tree. Sometimes you have to be a little bit, back and forth in order to get to where you are. And also, I'm very grateful that I accepted to do the spirit work. I'm very grateful that I accepted when I was 2 years old. And I said, whatever you want, I am willing to do to better humanity, to bring greater energy to this world. And very grateful for all that. And that's not even external because it's, let me tell you, when you a
Oh
few
no,
years
that was
back
eternal. That was
it
internal.
it's very hard to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning because they're calling you and they're saying you need to go to the Dunkin' Donuts and talk to that person and talk to them long enough so they stop thinking about killing themselves. So, it was like, okay, I committed myself. Okay, get up, get going, let's go, and go like, you know, and sit there until the person comes. And how you could tell your willingness to do that, they showed you the person coming because there's a special glow around them. Or one of my guys would show up and they say, that's them. Go talk to them. And you just did for humanity. And I'm very grateful I accepted that and I was willing to do it from that age. And I know, age of two, who would have thunk it? What do you know at age of two? I know, but
Uh,
I did it, you know?
I'm laughing because mine was at 2 also, and
Oh,
I'm like, yeah, who has these conversations at
age
2
of
years
two.
old?
And it's like, yeah, it's great because you look back and you look at the 2-year olds now, and you say, how did I do that? And you talk to them telepathically, and you talk to them in your own Bible language if you haven't experienced the full vocabulary. Although my mother said I talk too much already, uh, but I was very grateful. And still to this day, I'm very grateful that they allowed me to do that, and they that by me saying I'm willing to do whatever it is, and they chose me. Very,
Yeah.
very grateful. So,
And in all
and
fairness, I'll
uh-huh.
answer as well as I'm
Hmm.
grateful that I have a support and foundation around me with friends and family so that I can do what I do. And even if I make mistakes, yeah, there's that momentary judgment of what the hell were you thinking, but it quickly passes to I'm glad we caught this, nipped it in
Hmm.
the butt, learned what we needed to learn, moved on.
Yep.
It's done, doesn't need to be repeated. But at the same time, though, I'm also grateful for all the experiences that I've gone through because they made me who I am.
Mhm.
And on the internal level, because like I said with you, a lot of those were externals
Mhm.
impacting me. I'm grateful I have the gift of being the listener that I am and using my empath abilities for the shows and then everything that I do so that I can hear what's being shared
Mhm.
and expand on it or can you maybe if needs be help people understand what's being said and giving space to people to share what may be hard to share. And
Mhm.
being there in a safe, non judgmental, and
Mhm.
total, like almost bubble esque
Mhm.
space
Mhm.
that works both ways. And so they're for each other.
Yeah.
I'm and I gotta say I'm grateful for the friendships that I've gotten through the shows
Mm.
and everything, and all the people that I've met, all my guests. I'm like, wow, there are some that I'm like I still have rapport with. For example, with you, that
Mhm.
we talk offline a few times, and
Mhm.
there are others that, when needed, can call up and they're like, hey, I'm doing a show. And they're like, oh, I was so hoping you would ask me.
Yeah, there you go.
And
There you go.
so, yeah, I'm grateful for everything life's thrown at me. And one thing you didn't touch on, but I think we both have, is I'm grateful that we both, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but have the understanding that whatever's thrown at us or put
Mhm.
in our path, we know we can handle and can adapt and thrive in
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
And we don't resist it too much.
Right. Right. Well, I'm a Gemini, so I just argue. But that's you know LD is always saying to me, "Why do you do that?" I said, "Because I have to look at all sides."
Yeah.
Having a paralegal background, I did paralegal for 35 years. I look at something and I go, "Why, when, where?" All around. I look at everything all the side, and he's always like, "Okay, you're going to argue with your guides." Yes, I argue with my guides, and he's like. So he every single time I get what I call an assignment, he's like, I know it. I hear you arguing, and like in the middle of the night, I'm hearing you arguing with somebody. I know you're about to go in an assignment. I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. I am. It's like that's
But
just
in
me.
all fairness, I think the guides appreciate the arguments because I don't think they want blind followers.
No, no, they want followers to ask why, but because they know that I am practicing my free will. I'm just not a blind person, blindly going into whatever. They understand that by me, it's not. I call it arguing, but I call it a discussion. By having that discussion, they understand that I am using my free will and I am still saying yes, but I am really thinking about the whole situation and everything that they assign me to and saying, yep, okay, I'll take it now. Now that I know all the everything that is involved or that I will have to do or why I have to do it, of course, you know. And they
Yeah.
understand that I'm not just saying, oh, okay, and like a job, like a paralegal, they would just give you the assignments and you have to say, okay, whatever. But here you have a say
Mm.
and when you make a commitment with the divine being, with God, with the angels, with all the light beings, with spirit, with you know who the Holy Ghost, whoever, whatever you want to call it, you make a commitment with them, and they bring you the so-called assignments. They appreciate the fact that you're asking why and all that because they know at that point you're just not saying, oh, this is another job. Okay. You go more in with more enthusiasm. You go in with more care. Not that you were not going to care before, but you go in fully.
You're right.
Because when you say that, yes, you have gone in fully. You know, where if it's just a job, uh, another job, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
And one of the things, too, that I'm grateful for is when opportunity, like the universe puts something in your path.
mhm,
And an example of that is 2018 or 2019. I was offered a podcast show.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I met someone who ran a network, they were like, they saw something in me I didn't see. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I don't feel anyone's going to listen to me. I'm so new at this. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
waste your network's time. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to waste my time. No, I don't think so. And fast forward to, I think it was like 2021, 2022, and the universe drops in your lap again, the same opportunity. And they're like, well, now you don't have that excuse. So now what do you say? You're like, okay, I'm ready. And it all flows and works out. But
Mm-hmm.
you grow with it.
Well, it's kind
But
of funny because
yeah,
in
I'm grateful.
2019,
Yeah, I'm grateful that the universe doesn't go, well, he said no, so we're Xing
he
that
did.
out, canceling it
They
out, and moving on.
they
They're like, no, we'll try
they,
again.
they give you a couple of chances. Not you got to take that opportunity though, because if you keep saying no, 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 they're going to say, well, they don't want it, so that's it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in 2019, LD and I actually started our podcast, Glenda's Dragons Den, on a internet radio station, and it was great because it was visual on Facebook and YouTube and a couple of other channel networks, and then it was on an actual radio station that was in Strasbourg. So it was great. It was just like my first one. He's had all this experience, but I was like, I gotta talk and people gotta watch me. Oh no! So,
Yeah.
but it was great. It was really good, and that's how it started. And now it's like
Yeah.
just
And
okay.
I also gotta say, and I know you're the same way, is I'm grateful for the networks that give us
Hmm.
the space to
Yes.
have our shows and
Yes.
reach broader audiences. But
Hmm.
on another level, I also want to say I'm thankful to whoever it is, whether it's guides, my inner knowledge
Hmm.
core, or inner, I don't know, is it the super ego, the one that's on the inside?
Hmm.
That when I'm on a show and someone asks me a question that appears to be way out in left field that I have no research on, but the answer comes through from somewhere.
The
And I'm
divine
like,
inner wisdom.
yeah, I'm grateful when that happens and can communicate on equal level with every
Hmm.
guest.
Hmm. Yes. Yes. We are blessed in that respect, and that's why you know you, you were shown that path, and they're giving you the tools. So it isn't like they showed you the path. Here's your podcast. Here it is. Okay. All right. See you. Gotta go now. You're on your
Yeah,
own. They hang out with you. They stay with you. They give you the wisdom that you
yeah,
need
and
to chat and to talk and to bring the knowledge to others who have never really heard about certain things or even a different perspective um, to certain
yeah,
things.
and not to go too out there, but I want to take a moment and
Hmm.
say thank you to my dad who's on the other side, who does help me, because there are times where I'm like, I can't reach someone and I'm in a panic. And I'm like, I will speak it out to the universe and I'll be like, Dad, I need help with this. And
Hmm.
next thing I know, a message will pop up and be like, hey, sorry, my email wasn't working. I just now got everything. I'm like, oh, I can breathe again. Everything's good in the universe. We're calmed back down. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I appreciate all the
Yes.
help that comes in.
The other side is always there for us. If all we have to do is ask, whether it's spirit, whether it's divine beings, whether it's light beings, whether it's galactic beings, whether it's ascended masters, archangels, or angels in general, your guides in general, whoever is, we have such a large amount of beings in our corners. We just, people forget or don't know that they're there.
Yeah.
But if you just reached out and say, I really need a little help here, just a little, kind of like a direction, a thumbs up, make my card go to the left instead of the right, whatever you want. Just make it so a little help. They're there to help you. They really are. You just look for the signs.
Yeah.
So,
And I like to I like to think in the back of my head that as much as we watch how many people view the episodes just for like planning ahead, like going,
mm-hmm,
okay, who's, what topics are getting the hits that people are
mm-hmm,
liking, that I'm enjoying doing, versus which ones are not really gaining the traction. And it's like, okay, maybe don't want to do an episode on that
mm-hmm,
this coming up. So, watching that, but thinking in the, also thinking, you know, I'm glad my guides are watching the show and getting stuff out of it, and family on the other side are watching it and getting something out of it, because yeah, I feel like that's where sometimes I feel like we're getting nudges from the other side that's like, hey,
mm-hmm,
do an episode on this,
mm-hmm.
contact this person, we're putting them in your path, do
Uh,
you want
there,
to
there,
do
oh,
this?
there are some times where I have nobody, and then all of a sudden I have 10 people. And I'm like, okay, thank you. It's like, great. These are the subjects. And they appear as the subjects need to appear.
Yeah.
That's the way I've always run this, and it's worked out great for me. Because,
And I love when you have guests and you're like, okay, this is where the show's going because this is the topics they're on and everything. And then all of a sudden, a question from somewhere or somehow, you're like a total 180 and on another topic that you never saw coming. And you're like, wow, this is deep. Oh, wait, hold on. We're going here. All right. All bets are off now. Clubs are off. Let's
yeah,
go. How far are
uh,
we taking this?
I love it. I love it because,
Yeah.
and that's why I never really plan. You know yourself. I always tell everybody, just start, say who you are, how you got here, and the questions will always appear. The direction
It,
will always go,
it,
and it's
I
just
got
the
to
way it
tell
is.
you, Glenda, every time you're on the show, I want to ask you about quantum healing, and we never get there.
Quantum healing is to
Yeah.
put it as quickly as possible. You could you go to able to go to the minutest place in your psychic, in your energy field, heal it. That's basically it. In like the simplest form that I could do with the amount of time we have.
I know. I love how you made it in such a teaser that it's like perfect for like, yeah, we're gonna do an episode on this because there's so much more to it, and so
Yes,
yeah, we'll
yes,
definitely
there
have
is.
you back on, and I promise we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
As many
Thank you.
episodes as it takes.
Well, thank you for having me. It's
Yes.
great, and I love to thank everybody that's listening or watching, and you know, this is great, and I love to come back. So
Yes, and same with you and your shows. I'm happy to
thank you.
pop
Yeah,
in if you ever are last minute someone
yeah,
canceled and you're like, I'm like, if I'm not on a show, I'll pop on.
definitely, definitely. Thank you. We'll have you on schedule soon. So, so
Yeah,
thank you very much. I appreciate it
thank you, and from my heart to yours, have a wonderful Thanksgiving
as
day,
well.
every day, not just Thursday.
Yes, and thank you. Same to you. Same to you.
All right, and so I know we're at the hour and a half mark, but you had asked if you could do something in transparency before we got
Yes.
started. So I am going to turn it over to you to do that.
Okay. And I just want everyone to really take a moment to close your eyes, be present, take nice deep breaths, and just settle in. Settle into yourself. Allow your true self to rise and just be present. Don't worry, don't even think about what you haven't done, what you're supposed to do, just in this very moment. Even focus on just your breathing and give thanks for the ability to breathe. Thanks for the ability of your lungs to actually bring in that oxygen and send out the toxins, and the ability for that oxygen to go through your whole blood system and your whole body. And every single day, even if you have aches and pains or you're not feeling well, be thankful that you're actually doing this and you're actually here. Every single day is an opportunity. Every single second, actually, is an opportunity for you to be better, for you to change your course if you don't like where you're going, for you to choose the path to make yourself a better person according to you, to choose love, to spread that love, to allow yourself to be who you are meant to be, not the person that everybody else expects, but the person, the true human that you were born for, the true human, the true being, light being, the person who knows, the being that knows what true unconditional love is, because you've had it. And even if in this lifetime you haven't experienced it, you've had it in other lifetimes. So you know what it is. Give thanks for every single second that you're here because it's a new opportunity, a new wake up call, a new time, a place where you can just change directions and be who you truly want to be. It's an opportunity to ask for blessings, it's an opportunity to ask your guides to guide you to the right journey, to keep you there, to show you the way, and to bless you and give you the tools to get through everything. Because deep down, knowing that you will be okay no matter what you go through, just give yourself thanks for just taking this moment and give yourself thanks each and every day for allowing yourself to be here and choose to be here and choose to take the journey that you came for. Now take a few deep breaths. And on the third breath, for example, on the exhale, say thank you. On the fourth exhale, say I love you. And on the fifth exhale, just say I accept all the blessings that come to me.
I accept all the blessings that come to me.
Now, one more deep breath, and on the exhale, say thank you and open your eyes.
Thank you.
How did that feel?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that because I was like sitting there, and as we started, the way I could describe it, and a lot of people probably won't get this reference, but I know you will. I felt like my energy was like Pong, just the ball bouncing back and forth like at hyper speed.
Hmm.
And then as we did the breathing and listening to you and then doing coming out, it's like I felt like I was watching it start to go slower and slower to where I was like, oh, I so needed that right now.
You just need to take a pause every once in a while and just be it, focusing on that moment. That's why focusing on the breathing is so good, and I am always so grateful when I do that because it helps me catch up. It helps me balance. It just helps me be in this very moment. So no matter how I see or what I see in front of me, I'm always grateful. So
And I'm grateful because I think I'm gonna fall asleep earlier than normal because normally I'm like charged up and I'm in like, yeah, all the positive energy off of the show, and I'm like, okay, now let's go let this off and go watch TV for a while and laugh about some stuff. And now I'm like, I'm sitting there like going, yeah,
you
I'm
co-
charged up, but I'm not like overcharged.
you're right. You're caught up to yourself. You're balanced now. That's all.
Yeah, so thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you again for having me in this opportunity.
Yes, we may have to have you do that more often and make a special recording of those to play.
Definitely.
Be like, create a Glenda's Corner. Or what was that Saturday Night Live show? Daily Affirmations with Glenda?
Yes, there you go. Oh, never know. Maybe I'll start that.
Well, thank you. And I know it's late there and I know you're ready to get to sleep. So
Mhm.
I am going to say from my heart to all of you out there, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Make it every day. Like Glenda and I were talking about, find something or many things throughout your day to be grateful for and
Mhm.
acknowledge the
Mhm.
gratitude for it. And watch your positive energies just start to increase and your
Mhm.
days become better
Mhm.
and life improves. That's
Mhm.
my hope to all of you that
Mhm.
happens. I'm not going to guarantee it because I'm not you.
Right.
I have a hard enough time being me. So you'll have to forgive me if I don't want to be you because, yeah, I'm still working on figuring me.
Mhm. Yes. Well, good
All right.
night.
Good night and blessings to everyone.
Yes. Many blessings.
All right. Have fun.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.